Let me know when you're ready.
Did you want to give me that?
GYLO.com.
GYLON.
Continue.
Okay, VOD.
Yo, what's good, y'all? This is Ace Boogie.
And this is Bartholomew Jenkins, Esquire the Third.
Y'all know what y'all tuned in to.
Beats don't pay
RadioActive Podcast, man. We got some special guests in the building today. Ladies, please introduce yourselves.
Oh, I'm Alicia.
And I'm Rosalind.
Okay, now, y'all with...
It's Already Done Ministries.
Okay, already done ministry.
It's already
done.
It's
ministry.
already done. Read the flyer, bro. It's right in front of
already
you.
Done. Okay, where y'all get the name from?
The Lord.
So it was. Gotta be a story behind it.
Yeah,
You was just walking
so-
one day and.
No, actually, we were, after the retreat, we were trying to come up with a name for the ministry. I didn't want to have a name because I didn't want to make it a ministry. I just wanted it a gathering of girls and friends. And I was with my godmother, Miss Velma, and we were at Jim's restaurant. And I was talking to her about some of the names people had given me, and she was saying, no, that's not it. There was a couple that was in the restaurant, and the gentleman actually got up and came over to us, and he said, you might not believe this, but God told me to tell you that he's proud of what you're doing. He said, and I said, okay, because I felt like God, that we knew that. And he said, you don't have to worry about anything. And then he continued, and then he said, it's already done. I didn't take it at the time. I didn't understand what he was saying. I shared the story with several people. And then my sister-in-law, Sharice, when I shared it with her, she said, girl, God gave you the name of the ministry. Because I was still toying with what the name would be. She had me pull up different names, verify if something had already been used. And every time I gave her a name, she said, that's not it. That's not it. When I shared her with the story, then she said, I can't believe you don't realize that is the name. So long story short, after talking to several people, I didn't really make it connect. And then once I did, everything just flowed. And whenever we get into a situation or we are not sure about something, I can still hear him say, it's already done.
You know, I get, because these are great stories. I want to know, for both of y'all, what was the story on how y'all found God?
So, I mean, I was introduced to the Lord at a young age. With all transparency, when I would go to church and the bus would pick me up, and the bus would pick me up, I spent my money on candy.
Okay.
And so, so when it was time to put the money in the tithing, I didn't do that. I had already spent my money, and I was sitting there eating candy. So it took me, honestly, as an adult, to really develop a relationship with the Lord and understand he was in my life. I had been married before, went through a serious divorce, crazy marriage. And in situations like that, you call out to God. And he shows himself. And so for me, I really, really developed a relationship with the Lord while I worked in the prison. I was there till 2011 is when I retired. And I got an opportunity to be in some really serious situations, riots and different things, where I called out to God. And that's when I really started getting my relationship with him. And at that time, I was married. So from there, I've just watched his hand in my life, in the sisters that I have in my life, and us being able to minister to one another. But yeah, it was really, I really developed a personal relationship as an adult.
Now I hear you keep saying ladies and the sisters. Is this just a female church?
No,
or?
it's
Okay.
not. So we're an outreach. We don't have a building. We're believing in God for a transition home for the kids. But we started off as a women's gathering. I keep saying that because I was celebrating my birthday.
Okay.
I was celebrating my birthday, and Alicia and I met through a mutual friend. And I wanted to thank ladies who had been in my life, who had made a difference, I felt like, and actually guided me to who I am now. Right. And so I invited several friends. Some I had had over 20 years, while some I had met within that week. And just as the Lord led me to invite the ladies, and I paid for everything for them to come initially. And they just had to pay to get there, and they had to pay for their meals because we cooked our own food there. That was supposed to have been a one and done. And from there, it just grew, and now we're at our 5th year. We've been going to Smoky Mountains, Tennessee since 2018 for one weekend in March. We have over 22 states, and we have almost 300 ladies in our database.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when you say ladies, because I keep thinking that it's just strictly ladies.
That's how it started.
Okay.
And then in 2019, the Lord kept leading me toward men, because I had been ministering to men individually, primarily on marriage. So while I was going through my divorce, God allowed me to minister the love of the Lord and marriage to men. And they had no idea I was going through a divorce while I was literally ministering to them about why marriage was so wonderful.
Right.
And so, yeah, and so these men are still married. I'm friends with them on Facebook. They're celebrating 15, 20 years. I just ministered to 3 men recently that are doing wonderful now with their wives, and I'm single. But I still believe in marriage.
I heard you on
I
that.
believe everything about it. I believe the foundation. I think men are wonderful. My daddy is amazing. He was a great example. And I have brothers. So, so I do. And to speak about that, so we do have men. We do have a men's ministry now. Okay. It's very small. But they love the Lord, and they're coming behind us slowly, not literally behind us. It's just that we started before they did.
Are you a preacher, a pastor, or?
Yes, a minister.
I
don't know the difference. My girl's mother is a pastor.
So I don't have a title. I'm just a woman who loves the Lord, and I'm a disciple, and I'm a servant for God. I don't have a title. That's not against anybody who does. I just don't carry a title. I just say sister, and that's what I go by.
So what about
Alicia.
your what about your coming to God moment?
Well, I was raised in the church all my life, but my coming to Jesus moment was actually in college. It was in college. You're out on your own. You don't have mom or dad to like force you to do anything to, pour in those ideals that they hope will stick, with you. I mean, but the Word of God says that, if you bring up a child in the way they should go, then, they won't depart from it. And that was my story. So, I grew up very, very sheltered, but in a way that wasn't stifling. My mom never restricted us from like going to parties or hanging out with friends. So it wasn't in that regard. It's just for me personally, that just wasn't my cup of tea. And so even in college, I may have gone to 5 parties my entire college career. It just wasn't my thing. But the moment that God truly became real to me personally was it was like after a horrible relationship of the romantic sense. And it was like, being a church girl, if you do anything outside of what the Word of God says, like, there were people in my life that taught me the erroneous lie that, God's gonna get you, if you sin, they didn't really teach grace. They didn't really teach forgiveness. And so I was like, oh God, I'm like damaged goods. Like, I'm like, no man's gonna want me ever. Like, I am just, oh God, no. But it's crazy because I literally tried to run away from him. But that moment of desperation brought me to him. And so I just, was balled up on the floor in my little room. And I'm like, God, I feel so broken. I feel so useless. I feel so lowly. And it's like I felt the arms of God just kind of wrap around me in such a tangible way. I couldn't believe I just bawled. Because like, when I think about, because it's like to think about how grand and big God is, it's like, it's not even, you can't even truly comprehend. Like, it's not even comparable to us to like an ant.
Right.
And it's like, it's nowhere close. And it's like, oh my God, this all powerful, one true living God is in love with me, with my dirty, low down, despicable self-absorbed, and he loves me. It just blew me away. So I was like, okay, I'm down with you. We could do this. Let's go for it.
Let me ask this, and this is, don't cry. You about to
No,
cry?
my glasses are fogging
I'm
up.
about to say, don't.
No, it's it's fogging up. It's the glasses.
Okay, we'll let you cry.
Oh,
right.
I'm not gonna go there.
So, why do you think that most people, I don't want to say most people, like I know like all billion people in the world, right? A lot of people. Why is it that they only turn to God, like with you,
Right.
it was divorce, and then it's like, okay, now I'm going to turn to God. And then with you, it was,
Bad relationship.
bad relate, well, what have you.
Yeah.
I feel whatever I feel.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to turn to God.
Yeah.
Why do most people turn to God in like,
When we need him.
Yeah, in that desperate needs. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, but you said it right there. It's the desperate need. As human, like I can say for me as a human being, because look at what we're taught. Go out, get a job, make all the money you can, be self-sustaining. And with having a relationship with the Lord, there's a dependency. We're not taught to be dependent on anyone.
Right.
So it's really hard to separate, like what we're really cultivated in our society, and then go over to like your spirituality. We're one person in totality. You're not gonna section off how you are, how your character is, what your beliefs are, how you were brought up. And so I don't think it's like a conscious thing at all. I think it's something that is just ingrained in us throughout our entire lives by, whether it's family or society or the combination of it all.
Right.
But if you've gone through every possible measure,
Right.
that you've exhausted every possible resource, everything you could possibly think of, the last thing that at least in the moment of desperation, is where there is this God that people say will help me. There's this God that people say loves me. Let me give him a try.
Right.
Last resort.
I like to, and again, these are just questions, not coming at anybody.
Yeah, no worries.
Sure.
What is 1 + 1? Just asking, right? So I'm just asking questions. So, for instance, it's like I tend to see people don't mean anything by anything.
Yeah.
It's like I like to think that it's like this armrest. If they don't have that, then they're uncomfortable. You get what I'm saying? So God is that sort of thing mentally. It's like, you know what? If I don't have this, and I'm gonna fall back. So it's more of a comfort thing. And I feel like some people, and again, I just start praying as well. So I'm not saying this as someone that hasn't, that's non-believer. No,
yeah,
just asking questions. But more on, I feel like a lot of people have their own insecurities, and then when they feel like all their insecurities are shot, then they have to come up with this whatever it is to hold on to and say, okay, this is what's going to make me stand. But I also, aside of that, I think that if they were mentally, whatever they were dealing with, if they had that under control, not saying don't believe in God or anything like that, but I also think that God is within ourselves. So it's like, well, do you even believe in yourself? Do you get what I'm saying? Because we could take this, not saying it's fake, real, anything. We could take that out of it, this whatever. And it's like, okay, it's some sort of insecurity that we're dealing with within ourselves that we need to, this imaginary, not saying it's imaginary, just we need this thing that we can't touch or hold to believe in so we can progress to the next day. Is that a little bit, not with you guys, just saying, I know it's just when I put a lot together, it's like, hold up, a lot of people that have a lot of faith are either really down and out, or that when they come into their faith, it was something drastic. I got into a car accident, nearly died. Believe in God.
Yeah.
Whatever, bad relationship.
No, I hear you.
Believe in God.
No, I absolutely
So
hear
it's just
you.
like, is it some sort of insecurity that makes us first be like, you know what? Let me go try this on my own, and then when that doesn't happen, be like, you know what? I've done all that I can do. I'm insecure. Let me try this thing that I've never seen, or you get what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying.
Is it sort of speak like that?
So just to be transparent,
right.
I believe that we're made in the image of God. I don't have, just to be completely transparent, I don't have the immense amount of faith to believe that we came from absolutely nothing.
Right.
Like, to me, it's equivalent of putting all the components that you need of a watch into a bag, shaking that bag, bang it, throwing some fire, some heat, some whatever, and then there's a probability of it coming together to being a functional watch, but
right.
Like,
not one thing makes it the watch.
Right. Like, it's like even within this universe, the world that we live in, that just all of existence, if anything was off by the slightest measure,
right,
we would be nothing.
Correct.
And I don't have the level of faith that a person who may be an atheist, or a person that's kind of like, I don't know, there's power within you. Absolutely, there's power in me, but I am not strong enough to sustain myself. Like, it's because we live in a broken world. It's because God allows us to go through struggles because he knows how fickle we are. Right. We forget so easily, so quickly. And so he allows us and graces us through those moments of hardship because he knows that's the only way a lot of the time that most of us are even going to go to him. Because when it's all peaches and cream, what you going to go to him for?
So let me ask you this. What about the people that, and I agree, what about the people that don't go through anything and believe in God from the gate?
Do you
get what I'm saying? Like from the gate, like let's just say hypothetically you got these people that got the megatron, or people that's very successful, and then they have kids, or people that's very successful, they have family members that they take care of. Let's say a billionaire, whoever. And it doesn't have to be financially, but let's just say financially. They're not going through anything to where they have to worry about their next meal, or worry about whatever, a job, or worry about a transportation, or worry about where their next income is going to come from, where their kids going to go to school at, where they're going to live. Like, they don't have these thoughts in their head. But they also believe that Jesus died for their sins, and they believe in this higher power called God. Is it the same thing for them as well? They haven't been through anything, so God didn't really put them through. And I know we could sit there and say, we don't know what they're going to go through in their life. Well, we have people that they'll also tell you when they're 90, like, well, I never really struggled in my life. Well, my dad had this job. We always had a beach house. I didn't know struggle. And they believe in God.
Absolutely.
So, again, it takes me back to the insecurity. You get what I'm saying? When it's like, well, what about those people?
I mean, but let's talk about those people.
Right.
Absolutely. No worries for tangible things. No worries for provision. Absolutely. But that doesn't make you mentally, emotionally, spiritually stable. Right. That doesn't mean that you have no sense of trauma. Like, if you are a human being, like, just for the sheer fact of how selfish we naturally are, someone can literally come at you with the best of intentions and do something that you completely misconstrue, and oh my God, this person hates me. And that wasn't even their motive. And it just tears up your little world. And for you, with your situation, that is so weighted. Oh my God, how can they do that? Because that's your experience. It makes me think of a child. No shade to anybody. But it makes me think of a child. Like I have 11-year-old, a 7-year-old, and a 3-year-old. Like, for my 7-year-old, when my 3-year-old takes his toy and she smashes it, that is absolutely devastating. How could you take my toy and smash it? How dare you? He is in tears. He is in distress. He is going through it. And for him, that moment is absolutely horrendous. Right. How can I make it through? Like, it's kind of like, how can you really, who struggles the worst? Like, how can you really measure that? Struggles. You know what I'm saying? That's so it's good. Like,
but I tend to notice that most people that believe in God are usually black people that are in poverty. So most people are in, like, and again, I'm just now praying, so I'm not saying this as a person. So I'm coming from both sides. Like, this has been my friend for over 20 years. So he know my whole life, right? So it's not me coming just I'm figuring out for myself too. So
Yeah,
these
for
questions
sure.
are for me.
No, I got
so
you.
these are for me.
I'm with it. I love it. Let's do it.
So it's like, all right, I feel that, but I wouldn't. It still falls back to like insecurity a little bit to me. Just like when you say your son, right, with the toy.
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, we know that's a toy. So that's not really God putting a struggle on you. Like, we know that's a toy.
Right.
So someone in that situation, like you say, mentally stable or whatever, someone saying that they don't like me, that's different than poverty.
Absolutely.
Right? I tend to notice, like I was watching Umar the other day, and he had said, and it made sense a little bit, but it could be God. It's like, I didn't know we were going to have this conversation. So to bring forth this conversation and to intervene with it. But he was like, and I always say this, like, Christianity, and I don't know what you guys are. I'm not saying I don't know, right? But it was like, it was put on a lot of black people to sell hope. It sells best when you're down and out. If you up and high, it's no, and yes, you can still thank God for what you got, but it's like you've already won.
It's more appealing.
It's more appealing when you need to get. It's like playing a video game and you've already won the game. It's not that appealing. But when you're playing the game and you have something to look forward to or you don't know, it's a little more appealing. It gives you, But he was like, it's more on selling hope. It's more on Jesus is gonna help me make it through. Jesus is gonna do this if I believe this. It's to stay broke on earth or go through whatever you're gonna go through on earth
to be rich later.
To be rich in the afterlife, and then it may. Not saying that's true, but then when I look at a lot of
Can I say something? You don't have to be so apologetic.
Okay, I don't want to disrespect you guys.
No, not I could confidently speak.
Yeah.
What's y'all's thoughts on that?
Okay, so we are in America, and the American church is vastly different than in other countries. There are people in third world countries, and I can say this confidently because my grandmother was a missionary. She went around the world. She was in Japan. She was in Italy. She was in Indonesia. So she's seen true poverty in America. Haha. No. She's seen it, and she shared this with us. Coming up, and what's hilarious is you can take an impoverished family in Indonesia, and they can see a rich family in America, and they say, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry."
Right.
And the reason being is, as poor monetarily as they are, they're rich in peace.
Right.
They're rich in joy. They deem themselves wealthy, not because of their monetary gains, but because of the value of their life that they have. They are so grateful for everything they have.
Is that God, or because I'm great? I tend to think that Buddhists, like I like to look up Buddhists, and I just be looking. I was literally just looking up how long this Buddhist could meditate, and bro, he was sitting there for I had to fast forward. This was hours. I'm like, wow, he's good.
He's dedicated.
He's dedicated, right? It's the show when he sat down and it's the lights going down. I'm like, this dude is not moving, right? But aside of that, Buddhists don't believe in God. I don't know if anyone knows that. They don't believe in God, right? But they're the same thing as what you're saying. They're so grateful for the trees, the bees, the dirt. Nothing gets thrown away. Buddhists don't even, the food that they eat is given to them from they're truly in touch with life, right? From shaving their head to the clothes they wear, right? I say that to say, when we put our faith in God and faith in Jesus and things of that nature, and again, these are questions for me, are they going to hell? Because that's exactly like you say, the other family that's so full of life, because they're not, they are not, they feel sorry for the rich family because they're rich, but look at all that you got to go through. They probably believe in God, pray, do all of that.
Are they? Do y'all think
are they going to hell?
So this is for me personally. I'm not God. God will have mercy on whom He will.
Right.
I have no idea. I'm not afraid to say I don't know. Only for the simple fact that what exposure have they had? You know what I mean? I don't know. So, I'm not afraid to say it. I don't know.
Get to the question. We got
I actually wanted to touch on something that you spoke on.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to touch on something you spoke on earlier about coming to God when you go through the struggles and so forth. And this is a question for me. I don't talk to God as much as I'm probably supposed to. And then when something happens, I feel like oh, nah, he don't want to hear from me.
Oh man.
So what are y'all thoughts on that?
Oh man.
Totally the opposite. You know, I think that the God that we serve, not only, as she said, we're in his image, but we're the apple of his eye.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of us sitting in here and anyone that's listening, he loves us. He adores us. In what we consider our ugliest moment or what we consider in our best moment. But he loves us. We are his children.
Mm-hmm.
Every color, you know, every race. And he always wants to hear from us. Just like you all have been friends for 20 years, God wants that same relationship because he's a jealous God.
Mm-hmm. But how do we know? And it's always going to be about, me and my girl mom has had these conversations.
Yeah.
She a preacher. She sit up there and preach in front of all these people. She a preacher.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, she or pastor, whatever you call it when you go in
Right.
front of people. I don't know the specific name. So I ask these same questions. It just happened that we're on air, but I have these same conversations with my girl mom at times. Sometimes on the phone, and I just have a question and I'll call her because she read the Bible.
So let me say one thing to you. So
Yes,
when I
ma'am.
worked at the prison, my supervisor told me to leave God at home when I come to work. The wind began to blow, instantly. And I said to her, do you feel that wind? That can't be contained.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say to you, one of the things I learned after that, I had a very dear friend come up to me and she said, Rosalyn, I want you to go look up the word. I want you to look up preaching. And it's talking. It's just your conversation. It's what's coming out of your mouth.
Right.
That conversation that you have with us right now, we're talking and we choose the topic that we're talking about, but it's a relationship.
Right.
And so when you ask, when it comes down to how God would feel or, at the end of the day, he loves you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can go to him and you can talk to him about anything in your most secret place, publicly, privately. He wants to hear what you have to say. It says that he knows every hair that's on your head. He knows your thought before you know it. And one of the ways that I have seen that is that I've thought stuff and within 24 hours it manifests.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so, and I've seen that even in this event. She's experienced it in this event. We've experienced it in conversations we've had. And so I do believe that it becomes down to a relationship that you have with him and to know but know. Just know but know that he absolutely loves you. And so I know when you say, well, this person says this or this person says that, as sure as you leaning in that chair and you have faith that chair was going to hold you because you sat down in it. You opened up that jug of water and you turned it over and you knew that water was going to quench your thirst. I heard it. I heard the plastic when you pulled it off.
Because they don't sponsor us. You see, I took the beats off. They don't give us no money,
Okay,
so I
I
had to take the
understand.
wrapper off.
But that's the same faith that I have
Right.
in the God that I call my Father.
So let me ask you this, and these are
Okay.
just questions
That's fine.
that I have.
Okay.
So you see how you have faith.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm still dealing with
You
my own
good.
faith.
You good.
And I know he is. The way that I think, that's why we've been friends so long, because we kind of have similar ideologies, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, just like you have faith, that's all you can have in 2022 is faith, right? But I ask, the same Bible that we're reading, whether it's the Old Testament, New Testament, what have you, right? We talking about the same Jesus or same God, right? So with that being said, why do we got to have so much faith now? But then Jesus came and he was walking on water. They didn't have to have faith. So when you say that this water bottle is sure that it's in there, well, I got faith in it because I can pick the water bottle up and I see water in there. When you say that this chair is going to hold me, well, unless we done switched chairs, which I'm sure that we haven't, this is the same chair I sit in every week. So I do got faith because this chair held me up last week. Jesus, we kind of do these magic tricks, right? And then like let's say we flip a coin and be like, oh, heads, and then it land on heads, and be like, oh, see, that was Jesus. It's like, flip